Hello my good friends, Roger, Mudfossil University, and that is meat that has turned to rock. That's what's called a fascia tongue. This was what it was like before it turned to stone. And this is the treasury at Petra, and that was alive and then turned to stone. Now if you're not familiar with Mudfossil University, I set this up several years back to confront reality because I have DNA certified giant human beings, absolutely no question, and they are denied by academia. So I set up Mudfossil University. We have 70,000 people that are, a lot of them are quite active at this, and I have them all over the world that are contributing. West Coast, and I'm going to show you something from Tyson out on the West Coast. I have people in the middle of the country. I have people on the East Coast. I have everywhere. In the Amazon, I have them living with the Amazon Indians down there. Mudfossil University Museum will open, I think, next week down there. It was open, they relocated. Right with the Shipibo Indians. My friend John Slutton is opening it up. They're under the construction right now. Okay, this is Tyson. He's out on the West Coast, Mudfossil University. He is a professor, and he is sitting on a bilipid membrane. You should come up and look at his video. It's called Massive 600-Foot-Long Bilipid Membrane of a Leviathan Creature. We don't know what kind of creature it was, but we do know it was a creature. Okay, originally we thought this was a bilipid membrane, and it might be. Tyson's cleaning it all up and looking through it and everything. And then when I started to look through the biology, I think he might be an erectum. I don't know. There's a couple of different spots he could be, and I'll show it to you in the anatomical stuff. But there is channels going through there, which could be, it could be exactly what we originally thought, what he thought, was that it was a bilipid cell membrane. But I have no clue, to be perfectly honest with you. This is the kind of stuff we would really like to have some other eyes on this. We've got our ideas. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this. It's like 12 inches thick. And that's just the cell. That's the single outside cell. Now let me show you what they look like. All right, your whole body, from your mouth to your anus, is your digestive system. And it's layered with these kind of cells. Now look at the first set of cells here. We've got up here, this is your esophagus. And you have a very similar set of characteristics there as you do in what Tyson had. So, could it be that? I don't know. Could it be this, which is the stomach? It could be. I don't know. I don't think it's this one down here, which would be the small intestine. But it might be this one, which is the rectum. Now, we don't know where it is, and actually, the actual cells in your body have bilipid cell membranes. Now, is it this? Is it the... I'm telling you, things are just not what you're thinking. There's Tyson again. Same thing. They would dig into it. And this is not hard to dig out. This is not like they say, oh, it's solid, granite. No, it's not. This wasn't hard to dig out at all long ago. It was literally tender, and I'll show you that too. All right, this is at the Fuerte del Sampiata in Bolivia, and that is from a tracked, two-wheeled, supported tracked vehicle that was built specifically to sit on soft material, in this case a tendon, and still be able to drive. And why do I say that? And what are they doing with this thing? Well, guess what? They're doing this over here. They're cutting slabs. And how can I say that? Well, here's how. That was the tendon. These are the slabs. That's the wall. All right, that's the tendon. There's not much biological material in there. These are calcium, CaCO3. It's limestone. And in your body, the same thing. It's CaCO3. It's very strong structurally, and it has very little nutritional support. And that's why tendons very rarely heal. These are how they put them together. They cut them wet. That thing was sinking into the wet tendon and cutting them wet. They somehow transferred them down here, slapped them together as putty, and this one was put in was one of the biological pieces. Like I said, tendon rarely has biological bloody stuff in it. So whoever did this did a really lousy job, and they did a terrible. It's all over the bloody stuff. It's a mess. Look at that thing. Look at this one over here. This was the poor end of town, obviously. I believe this is in Bulgaria. That's the same exact machine. Somewhere else. I don't know where it is. But I think it's in Bulgaria, somebody told me. You saw the tendon. That's what they call a synovial sheath, slippery, like, they're kaolin clays, really, is what they are. They're slippery, slimy sheaths that your tendons slide in. They have to slide. Every one of them has to be nice and independent. That is a four-wheel drive tire track, and that happened when that thing set up, and that, I believe, was 4,300 years ago. And they were here making those walls at the same time with these, and guess what these are? Those are also tendon straps. You see this? You see that biological pinch in there? That was a strap that came across and had a ball on the end that anchored, and I can prove that too. That wall that was made out of this stuff, and they snapped the tendon right there, the strap, and that's the tendon ball, which would have anchored down here and is ripped out. That is an injury. The ball comes through this Chinese finger trap, and this tendon can pull back and forth as the ball stays anchored here. That guy's in pain. That is the same ball, and that is the same strap. They rarely come with the straps because that is the weak spot. The balls are tough as hell. There's another one here. There's another one here. They're all over the place. And this is the reason they're all over the place. They're everywhere, all over the world, and people have never figured out what they are. These gigantic balls are from creatures, and that's the tendon. That's what they do. They're everywhere. That's a cluster of stone balls. That's a house. They're on the surface of the earth. The creature that was around them eroded because clay in the flesh in the body erodes. Tendons, the strong tendons, limestone, is what most of the earth is made of, and the structural components of a body. These tendon balls are exceptional. They rarely erode. This was skin. This was a complete layer of skin. And inside that skin is what's called interstitium. And it's like these stone balls attached to little tiny fibers. And that's what allows you to move your skin around, and it can all come back. They go out and they come right back to where they were if the balls were still attached. Of course, it's all eroded out. And this is part of the same creature. I'm telling you, the earth is made of creatures that the average human mind could just not possibly comprehend. So, on that note, I want you to go and watch Brian Forrester's latest video put out September 6, 2019. He does fabulous work. I would love to have Brian address these things in both realms. I mean, I'm showing something that can't be denied. Now, to go out and start talking about this as, oh, we know exactly what it is and all this business, no, that's not, because he asks the right questions, but he's asking the wrong people. Now, I've talked to you, Brian. Trust me, brother, I am telling you the truth. Now, I know you know I've been talking to you about this, and I don't mean to, you do the most fabulous work, and I understand your position, but you have to understand my position. I'm looking for reality, and the people that you're going to be taking on your tours, I would suspect, are going to like to hear these alternative views. I would if I was going there. I mean, I know you do fabulous work, Brian, and I love watching your stuff, man. I really do. I respect you more than anyone that's out there, but I also understand your position. So, I would love to be able to work with you or work with anybody that wants to open up reality. Start looking at this for real. There's a lot more than what I just showed you. A lot more. Well, here, I'm going to show you a couple things real quick. We have new hominid species. That's a leg from a new species, and we have a ton of this stuff. Tish Egerton, and she's in the Midwest. That is looks to me like a wing nut with the nut coming right out, and you screw that in. These pads came just out like this. I have a ton of them. Some had feet like this, just big round feet like that. That's where the fibia was. The tibia comes up here, the fibia sits on the side, they fall right off. Here's some more shots. Big, normal. Look at that. That is, I'm telling you, that's a wing nut. And the other stuff eroded right off. This is like a manufactured block, and they bolt the pads on. See the pads underneath the feet? All right, this was the kind of feet. This is what we have, the heel, and then the strap comes up. This is what they had there. There's the heel, there's the strap that comes up. But they don't have these bones, and they don't have the tendons. There was springs, and there was 2 sets of torsion springs. And I did this in great detail. I fully understand. I work with Tish a lot. And I understand this. I just did another video on this again, showing it in extreme detail, because she has tons of this. I mean, absolute slaughtered with this stuff. And we presented it to a lot of universities and not a single response. So, well, I'm going to leave it at this. I hope Brian will present both sides of the story. Somebody's got to, sooner or later. It's just ridiculous to hide from it and say, well, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, it's too scary. Somebody's got to address this. I've had DNA certified. Well, let me just show you something again. All right, just so you can see, this goes back to February of 2015. And we're just getting the DNA tested, and this is the hand. Now, this is a palm. It's 36 inches wide. Since then, I found a whole ton of this. The whole thing is there. The bones are everywhere. And this is the fleshy part of your palm. This is this kind of stuff. And then that runs right down, is like a tendon. And this silvery looking stuff is silicone. Your hands and your grip skin are dense with silicone. That's why that's there. But this, you see that? It almost looks like putty looking running down there. That's part of your hand. That's this thing here. That's this right there. The other part is here. And if you look, you've got the same thing running out of your hand too. That is a hand. And I've got the knuckles, I've got fingers, I had a CAT scan, I have DNA tested, 100% human. I had it looked at by an anatomist who was one of the leading autopsy anatomists in the world, Gil Headley. I had a CAT scan by Jesse Garant and Associates, and I had it DNA certified by Helix Biolabs. All right, so from February, I started to go around and see if somebody would look at this. Nobody would look at it. I had it all tested, I had everything done. So then I decided, well, the hell with it, I'll get the DNA done. So I had 3 samples sent in for DNA testing, and they all came back human, because they were all human. I knew that anyway. And here they are. This was it. And it was done absolutely flawlessly. We used all the correct stuff. It's sequenced and the whole 9 yards. It was done without any contamination whatsoever. And it was taken from dense, hold on a second. This was one of the lungs. You see this lung right here? Lung. That's one of the lungs. You see that? That's what DNA comes out of there. We took and chiseled out a bunch of DNA out of there. Red blood. Sent that off, and it was all bleached before we did it, and we used gloves and masks and all the whole 9 yards. So don't start with that stuff. And anyway, I had it checked out. You take anybody. You ask any doctor or any anatomist, is that a lung? And they will say yes. And you will say, what it is? It's a left lung, because that's the depression of the heart. It's a left human lung. That's the little flap on the bottom. They call it a fascia tongue. This is the fabric of the pleura that coats the lung, and this is the pattern of the lobes of the lung underneath. There's no question. I mean, it's absolutely undeniable. And all of this was done, and it's been all certified, tested by 2 different labs. So, I'm closing the case. I want somebody to get a hold of me. I really do. It should be, I mean, it's just insanity to hide from it. And it's literally being hid from.